Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a quick tabletop after the range or after the competition review. We are about 350 rounds on the Archon Type B Gen 2. So we want to talk about it for a second and tell you some things that we think about it, and tell you some things that I wish I could have done a little differently with the information I want to give you on this, and kind of explain why I wish I could give a better report from my personal experience with the gun, because I feel like I can't give this gun the proper shakedown because I've been bouncing around between guns so much lately that it's hard for me to say that I shot this gun to the best of my ability. And so in that case, I just have a hard time kind of giving you as honest of opinion as I would like to, because I think the gun is more capable of what I've shown with it. But overall, the gun did great at the match. No problems. I've had problems in the past videos, if you've looked at my videos. Well, first off, let's just look at the gun. I mean, this is a beautiful gun. This package altogether, this has been safety checked, by the way. This package altogether is just a good looking gun. Even the TLR1 on it, I think it looks better on this gun than just about any other gun. Just looks really good. But yeah, guys, I for some reason during the match that we shot, I did not shoot as accurately as I would like to, and there are several reasons I think for that. One was bouncing between guns in the last few competitions. One being that this gun does handle differently, it shoots differently, its trigger's a little different than most of the striker fire guns that I do shoot. I feel like for instance, the P10C and the Canik Rival S, I feel like their triggers are sort of similar in the way that they feel, but the Archon's trigger is just quite a bit different. It's not that it's bad. I feel like it kind of breaks a little further back than the other triggers and has a different feel to it. It has more of a longer pre-travel, which takes a little bit of getting used to. Off the reset shots are not so bad, but where it breaks is a little different, and if you're not careful and you're not used to it, you can throw your shots off a little bit by pulling the trigger, even though it's a light, smooth trigger. And this one has a better trigger than it did out of the box, because we talked about that in past videos. I think that led to some things. This is also the first time that I've shot any gun with a light this size. I've used smaller concealed carry lights, but this is the first time, and I've always wanted to have a bigger light. So I thought I'd get one, and I'm trying this thing out. And I did notice that, whether it's just me, and I've heard other people talk about this on YouTube, and I thought they were just saying what they were saying, but I found out that you do need to train with a light like this and get used to it, because when you're firing a gun, if you're not careful, the extra weight can actually cause the gun to kind of dip and bounce and recoil. And I did feel like that was causing because of my lack of training with the gun, was causing a little bit of accuracy issues from me, the shooter, not from the gun itself. And I kind of wonder if I would have got better accuracy without the light, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong about that. The gun overall does shoot accurate. I was shooting about 2 or 3 inch groups at 25 yards with really cheap ammo. That's not with premium ammo. I would say you could get 1.5 inch, 1 inch groups at 25 yards with good quality ammo. So the gun is plenty accurate enough. Now, that being said, let's talk about the magazine release, because we've had problems with it in the past. I have to say, I still am not a huge fan of this mag release design. The way it's designed, it's a little bit harder to hit steel, but it's a lot better than it was out of the box. You can go back and listen to my videos on that. We've done some altercations. But in the first match we shot with this, we dropped 2 mags on accident during the match because this button was sticking, and we had already done some mods on it, so we did some further mods and we fixed the problem. In this match, we went through the whole match without worrying about dropping any magazines. The gun ran flawless. The gun under fire never had any malfunctions, and even when I took this gun home to clean it, I will say this is one of the easiest ported guns to clean. The way it's set up, the way the frame's set up, the way the gun is just made and engineered, was one of the easiest guns to clean that's ported that I've ever seen, because ported guns do get very dirty. And this one, I have to say as well, when it gets dirty, even though it's ported, it still feels almost like it's not got nothing in it, because the way that the barrel does not tilt, it's got a different action in it. The way the different lockup design, the barrel does not tilt. And I think this is one gun that you could probably go 1,000 or 2,000 rounds even with it ported and still not have to clean it, and it'd be 100% reliable. I really do believe that. Could be wrong, but I do believe that. Is this a gun like this duty ready? I would say yes. I think it's an excellent duty choice, especially once you work out all the little cons that I felt like it had out of the box. Let's go into serrations, or not serrations, but the grip texture. I did not like it out of the box. The rubber was too slick and too soft. We also talked about how this part of the beaver tail had a little bump on it right here out from the factory, and we sanded that down. Well, I found that since I got this stippled by myself, or I did it myself, I should say, the gun did not slip around at all, and it actually caused that spot on the beaver tail to not bother me as bad, because my hand was not moving in the recoil at all. I didn't have to worry about it. It was 90 degrees and my hands were sweaty, but with this grip texture, I didn't have to worry. It made the gun feel a lot more comfortable. People think, well, the grip texture is going to make it uncomfortable because it's so, it's over textured, or it kind of bites in your hand. What actually feels better when the gun's not slipping around and beating up on your joints and stuff right here. When the gun is stuck in your hand and it's not moving, it actually feels more comfortable because you're not having to constantly re-grip. So that makes it really nice. So the texture, the stippling was phenomenal. I'm so happy I did that instead of getting some kind of other grip tape for the gun. The stippling has been fantastic. But yeah, like I said, I need to get used to the light. The trigger, I need to get used to it. If I was going to shoot this in matches again, I would need to maybe run a few rounds through it. We ran a classifier, and I was about half A zones and half C zones. And most of the time I'm 90% A zones or on a classifier like that. And this time I was about half, about 50% A zone, maybe 60% A zone, and 40% C zone. And that's not very good for me. I was kind of upset at myself that I wasn't shooting better. But then when I got to thinking, well, you've only got, at the time I only had 250 rounds to this gun. I hadn't shot it in a few months. I've been focusing on other guns and getting used to those other guns, and actually kind of developing muscle memory with those other guns that are quite a bit different than this one. And I come to this one, and yeah, we can't expect to pick up any gun in our collection and just shoot it perfectly. It just don't happen. It's not the way we are as humans. We need to kind of stick with one if we want to get our maximum results out of it. And that's a problem that I seen when I went to shoot this in a classifier in the match, and when I went to other stages as well. We did see some phenomenal accuracy potential out of the gun. And I'm telling you this because the accuracy was all me when it wasn't good. It wasn't the gun's fault. It was me just not training with the light, with the trigger, with this gun being fairly new to me. It wasn't training enough right before the match with this gun. It was going right from another gun that I've been training with and practicing with and reviewing to this gun. So that's not on the gun. I'm not going to fault the gun. I didn't shoot my best. I wasn't even the fastest I could have been that day, the other day when we shot the competition. I could have been faster. My mind wasn't really in the match as good as I would like to have been. I had a rough week at work, so sometimes you get a little brain fog from that. So it's not the gun's fault. The gun did phenomenal, and I wish I would have practiced with it more and had more time to really do it justice. And that being said, we did get 29th out of 68 people, I think it was. Anywhere from 65 to 70 people. I can't remember exactly how many. But I did get 29th, and that's not bad. We have a lot of good shooters that go to the match up there. So, I mean, I feel okay with that. Taking a brand new gun. A lot of the people shoot more often than I do, and they use the same gun over and over again. So to take a new gun and shoot it that good, be 29th out of 30, out of almost 70. So better than half of the group in the top 40% or so. Pretty happy with that, considering there's some really good shooters up there, and everybody that goes up there is pretty good at what they do. We didn't have hardly many at all bad shooters up there. So was pretty happy with that. Yeah, I had some really good accuracy, like I was saying. We started a stage where we had to draw, and we was about 10 yards away from one target, and it was half cut off, and I did a double tap on that target at 10 yards, and I wish I had the footage to show you. I do have the footage, but my whole match footage was recorded by accident. I'd somehow changed the settings to slow motion, so I had to re-edit it, speed it up times 8, 8 times the speed just to get it to normal speed, because it recorded in 240 frames per second, which ruined the footage and made it not look as good. It's still viewable and it's not bad, but it doesn't look as good as normal because it was filmed in slow motion. But I can't show you because the resolution is not as good. But I had a 10-yard shot where I double tapped, and the shots were actually almost look like the same hole. So it tells you the potential. When you can do something like that with this gun, first 2 shots on that stage were touching, and they were shot pretty fast. It shows you the potential of this gun, and it's saying that the gun is not at fault. When I did not shoot good as far as accuracy, it was me. But my accuracy really wasn't bad to some people's standards, but just to mine, I always like to shoot an accurate match. To me, an accurate match, or a match that I get mostly A zones, is more important to me, especially for real world training. I go to IDPA to learn weapons and weapon manipulation, and to understand tactics a little bit better, and kind of do some things under stress. That's why I go. I don't really go just for the sport. I enjoy the sport, but that's mostly why I go. So that being said, the gun did a really good job of doing those things, and yeah, I wish I would have done a little bit more work in training for that particular match with this particular gun, and I didn't do that. But yeah, the gun is very accurate. Like I said, beside the trigger not being exactly what I'm used to, and maybe not quite what I like as much as some of my other guns, it's still got a phenomenal trigger. The mag release could be better, but it still does the job, and now it actually works pretty well, so I don't have no complaints. It's a little harder to actuate than some of my other guns, but it's not a major complaint, just a minor con in my opinion. And so is the trigger. Trigger's good, but not the best. I think I prefer the P10C or the Canic trigger. But yeah, overall, phenomenal gun. The gun, one thing I want to say is the gun was almost shot so flat. It's weird because I think this is the flattest shooting gun I have, even amongst my heavier ported guns like the Canic. The Canic is super flat, but it still has a little slight rise, and you can kind of time it. This thing is so flat, it just barely goes up, and it kind of just wobbles a little bit under recoil instead of actually rising. It kind of just does a little wobble, and I got slow motion footage showing that. But it really shoots so flat, it's kind of strange and hard to get used to, because you kind of time your shots by that muzzle rise. And unless you train with a gun like this, it's kind of hard to time it, to know when to pull the trigger next. Because yeah, we're following the dot, I get that. But when you're shooting really fast, you're kind of just seeing a red blur, and you're somewhat going on the timing of your muzzle rise to it dropping. And you kind of can feel the timing by that and the dot. And when you don't have that kind of same feel, it's almost like you have to train completely different and kind of get a different feel. And that's what this gun does. It's awesome in the fact that it shoots so flat, but you've got to get used to that. I think it's something you'd have to train past if you wanted a gun set up exactly this way. The gun was flat before it was ported, and now it's one of the flattest guns I have. I'll just be honest with you. Really cool gun. If you think you would want a gun like this, I would definitely say go for it. Can you get better guns overall for the price? I would say probably yes. There's better guns for the price, but if you like the way this gun looks aesthetically and you like what you can do with it, this is a fine option. I think it is more of a premium gun in just the way it's designed. I think its design makes it very reliable. Besides maybe the mag release design, I think that could be worked on. The trigger design could be enhanced a little bit in the future, but since I've got those kind of worked out a little bit, and we've done a little bit of work to those, go to my past videos if you want to see that. The gun is now set up pretty phenomenally. I really like the slide release as well. Works really well. So guys, yeah, please go try one of these. If you haven't, if you know somebody that has one, or a gun range that will let you rent one of these, try it out just to see what you think about it. You're probably not going to get one exactly like mine. This is probably the coolest one on the internet in my opinion. May not be the best looking one, but as far as performance, I think it's going to be hard to find an Archon that shoots better than this one. I can promise you that. Well, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. That helps the algorithm. This is a lot of work. I'm doing this in the heat right now. It's not very cool in here, so please help me out and support the channel. I'm trying to think if there's any other things I want to cover. We did shoot it with the Blackhawk Omnivore, and we modified this holster to stay unlocked for the match, and I can take it on and off and lock it and unlock it to where the button will release. But I had it locked open the whole time, so I didn't have to worry about the gun getting stuck in the holster and holding me up. But this ran really good. I really enjoyed the gun with the Omnivore. If you want to see what it looks like, let's put it in here real quick. So there's what the gun looks like with the holster. Looks really cool. I think that looks very duty ready in my opinion. But yeah, the gun looks good in there. This is one of the prettiest guns, I have to say. Even though it's all black, and I don't always like all black, I think it's one of the best looking guns I have in my collection for a polymer framed gun. Let's just put it that way. The design of the slide, the way it turned out with the ports. The Justice 2 looks really good. By the way, the Justice 2 performed very well. I'm very happy with the Justice 2. I'm very happy with all the modifications I've done to this gun. I don't think I would have made any other modifications any other way going back and looking at it. The only thing I would have done is added a little higher rear sight. I did add a different sight, but it barely co-witnesses, and I wish I would have had one that co-witnessed a little bit higher, just a little bit. But overall, I'm going to keep it like this, guys. I think it's pretty good to go. God bless. Have a great day. Thank y'all for the support.